Hey, hey, hey. Are you ready for nap time, story time? Before I begin, I just saw on the news the mayor of New York City is preparing to have you boys and girls return back to school soon. So, in case you've forgotten, you'll need to have your temperature taken. Please don't let anyone point it at your head. You can have them pointed at your wrist. Watch. My reading is 97.0. I'm good. Remember, don't let them point it at your head. No one should ever be comfortable with a gun pointed at their head, no matter what kind of a gun it is. Also, I would like to acknowledge Trinity. I just received an order from Trinity of a detox tea. Relax, relate, release. Let me tell you, if you could smell how wonderful it smells, you would know that there's some good stuff going on in there. There it is. It contains dandelion leaves, elderflowers, burdock root, rose petals, licorice, ginger, tulsi leaves, safflower petals, and I don't know what the natural flavors are, but I can tell you it smells so wonderful. Also, as a thank you, I was given a sample of this good night tea, and I also had to bag it myself. It comes with bags that you fill with the flowers. This has been steeping for about the 5 minutes they recommend. So as we read our story today, I will sip the Trinity. Here is the ordering information, and you can tell them I sent you. There you are. Okay, before I begin your story, I'd like everybody to just acknowledge this book. Grown-ups, I think that it would be a welcome addition to a home library for you. And as your children get old enough to understand, read with understanding, it would be a nice passed down gift to them to keep it in the family. John Herbert Clark was a wonderful historian. The foreword is by Professor Leonard Jeffries. Everybody from City College recognizes that name. And the preface by Edward Scobie. I think this is a welcome addition to every home library. And now, little ones, this is the one for you. This is the Amelia Bedelia who I always recognize and remember. I'm going to take a sip of my tea, and then we will begin. Oh, it's heavenly. It's delightful. It's very hot. I'll let it cool. I definitely tasted the licorice. Okay, Amelia Bedelia by Peggy Parish. Pictures by Fritz Seibel. You know, I always show you the pictures. And the dedication is for Debbie, John Grier, Walter, and Michael Dinkins. Oh, Amelia Bedelia, your first day of work, and I can't be here. But I made a list for you. You just do what the list says, said Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers got into the car with Mr. Rogers. They drove away. My, what nice folks. I'm going to like working here, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia went inside. Such a grand house. These folks must be rich. But I must get to work. Here I stand just looking, and me with a whole list of things to do. Amelia Bedelia stood there a minute longer. I think I'll make a surprise for them. I'll make lemon meringue pie. I do make good pies. So, Amelia Bedelia went into the kitchen. She put a little of this and a pinch of that into a bowl. She mixed and she rolled. Soon, her pie was ready to go into the oven. There, said Amelia Bedelia, that's done. Oh, pardon me. Oh, excuse me. Now, let's see what the list says, Amelia Bedelia read. Change the towels in the green bathroom. Amelia Bedelia found a green bathroom. Those towels are very nice. Why change them, she thought. Then Amelia Bedelia remembered what Mrs. Rogers had said. She must do just what the list told her. Well, all right, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia got some scissors. She snipped a little here and a little there, and she changed those towels. There, said Amelia Bedelia. She looked at her list again. Dust the furniture. Did you ever hear tell of such a silly thing? At my house, we undust the furniture. But to each his own way. Amelia Bedelia took one last look at the bathroom. She saw a big box with the words dusting powder on it. Well, look at that. A special powder to dust with, exclaimed Amelia Bedelia. So, Amelia Bedelia dusted the furniture. That should be dusty enough. My, how nice it smells. Draw the drapes when the sun comes in, read Amelia Bedelia. She looked up. The sun was coming in. Amelia Bedelia looked at the list again. Draw the drapes? That's what it says. I'm not much of a hand at drawing, but I'll give it a try. So, Amelia Bedelia sat right down and she drew those drapes. Amelia Bedelia marked off about the drapes. Now what? Put the lights out when you finish in the living room. Amelia Bedelia thought about this a minute. She switched off the lights, then she carefully unscrewed each bulb. And Amelia Bedelia put the lights out. So those things need to be aired out too? Just like pillows and babies? Oh, I do have a lot to learn. My pie! Exclaimed Amelia Bedelia. She hurried into the kitchen. Just right, she said. She took the pie out of the oven and put it on the table to cool. Then she looked at the list. Measure 2 cups of rice. That's next, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia found 2 cups. She filled them with rice. And Amelia Bedelia measured the rice. Amelia Bedelia laughed. These folks do want me to do funny things. Then she poured the rice back into the container. The meat market will deliver a steak and a chicken. Please trim the fat before you put the steak in the icebox. And please dress the chicken. When the meat arrived, Amelia Bedelia opened the bag. She looked at the steak for a long time. Yes, she said, that will do nicely. And Amelia Bedelia got some lace and bits of ribbon, and Amelia Bedelia trimmed that fat before she put the steak in the icebox. Now, I must dress the chicken. I wonder if she wants a he chicken or a she chicken, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia went right to work. Soon, the chicken was finished. Amelia Bedelia heard the door open. The folks are back, she said. She rushed out to meet them. Amelia Bedelia, why are all of the light bulbs outside? Asked Mr. Rogers. The list just said to put the lights out, said Amelia Bedelia. It didn't say to bring them back in. Oh, I do hope they didn't get aired too long. Amelia Bedelia, the sun will fade the furniture. I asked you to draw the drapes, said Mrs. Rogers. I did. See, said Amelia Bedelia. She held up her picture. Then Mrs. Rogers saw the furniture. The furniture, she cried. Did I dust it well enough? Asked Amelia Bedelia. That's such a nice dusting powder. Mr. Rogers went to wash his hands. I say, he called, these are very unusual towels. Mrs. Rogers dashed into the bathroom. Oh, my best towels, she said. Didn't I change them enough? Asked Amelia Bedelia. Mrs. Rogers went into the kitchen. I'll cook dinner. Where's the rice I asked you to measure? I put it back in the container, but I remember it measured 4.5 inches, said Amelia Bedelia. Was the meat delivered? Asked Mrs. Rogers. Yes, said Amelia Bedelia. I trimmed the fat just like you said. It does look nice. Mrs. Rogers rushed to the ice box. She opened it. Lace? Ribbons? Oh dear, said Mrs. Rogers. The chicken. You dressed the chicken? Asked Mrs. Rogers. Yes, and I found the nicest box to put him in, said Amelia Bedelia. A box? Exclaimed Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers hurried over to the box. She lifted the lid. There lay the chicken, and he was just as dressed as he could be. Mrs. Rogers was very angry. She was very angry. She opened her mouth. Mrs. Rogers meant to tell Amelia Bedelia she was fired. But before she could get the words out, Mr. Rogers put something in her mouth. It was so good, Mrs. Rogers forgot about being angry. Lemon meringue pie, she exclaimed. I made it to surprise you, said Amelia Bedelia happily. So right then and there, Mr. and Mrs. Rogers decided that Amelia Bedelia must stay, and so she did. Mrs. Rogers learned to say, undust the furniture, close the drapes, and things like that. Mr. Rogers didn't care if Amelia Bedelia trimmed all of his steaks with lace. All he cared about was having her there to make lemon meringue pies. And see, here are the old Peggy Parish Amelia Bedelia books that I remember. Amelia Bedelia Bookworm, Play Ball Amelia Bedelia, Amelia Bedelia and the Baby, Amelia Bedelia Goes Camping, Amelia Bedelia and the Cat, Amelia Bedelia Cub Reporter. If you want to read some more of the original Amelia Bedelia books, you know where to go. In the meantime, you know that when I come to the end of the story, it is time for you to go take your nap.